and welcome to all. The next topic is Puranas. Puranas contains five key characteristics. First, creation of the universe. Second, destruction and recreation. Third, lineage of kings. Fourth, times of different menus. And fifth, stories of dynasties. The Mahapuranas. First, Agni. Number of verses 16,000. Topics discussed in Agni Puranas. Rules for worship of various deities, installations of images in temples, astrology, architecture, sculptures, medicine, toxicology, principles of dramaturgy, human physiology, figures of speech. Second, Bhagavad Mahapuran contains 18,000 number of verses. Topics discussed: most authoritative text dealing with Sri Krishna life, cosmic form of God, creation of the world, Uddhav Gita, list of kings who ruled after Krishna, a graphic description of Kali Yuga. Third, Bhavishya Mahapuran contains 14,500 number of verses. Topic discussed in Mahapuranas: 16 Sanskar rules concerning the studies of Vedas, Varnashram Dharma, Vratas, types of Dan, genealogy of the king who will come in future and the way they will rule the country. Fourth, Brahma Mahapuran contains 10,000 number of verses. Topic discussed in Brahma Mahapuranas: what is available seems to be more a compilation of chapters from Mahabharata, Vishnu, Markandeya, and Vayu Puranas. Fifth, Brahmanand, Brahmand Mahapuranas contains 12,000 number of verses. In Brahmand Mahapuranas, topic discussed the subjects of creation, geography of Earth and Bharatvarsh, 14 worlds, types of health, lineage. Translation of this Puran has been found in the Bali Island. 6. Brahmavaivar Mahapuranas contains 18,000 number of verses. In Brahmavaivar Mahapuranas, topics described Ayurveda, Sandhya ritual, Saligram worship, Kali greatness of Tulsi Das, of Tulsi lives, code of conduct for married women and widows, greatness of Bharat Desh, building construction. Seventh, Garud Mahapuran contains 18,000 number of verses. Topics discussed in Garud Mahapuran: cosmography, astronomy, astrology, omens, portents, medicine, and knowledge of precious stones, journey of Ziv after death, rites to be performed during and after death, torments of hell, encounter with Pretus, Yamalu. Eighth, Kurma Mahapuran contains 18,000 of verses. In Kurma Mahapuran, in Kurma Mahapuran, topic discussed duties of four varnas and ashramas, evaluation of Prakriti, description of physical features of the world, and of Jambu Dweep, division of Vedas after three rites, Prayas, Prayasit, Pralay. Ninth, Linga Mahapuran contains 11,000 of verses. In Linga Mahapurana's topic discussed about music and its propagation, danas, and their foods. 10th, Markandeya Mahapuranas contains 9,000 of number of verses. In Markandeya Mahapurana's topic discussed about description of health, curve and its fructification, some aspects of yoga, geographical description of Bharat, and Shraddhas. 11th, Matsya Mahapuran contains 14,000 number of verses. In Matsya Mahapurana's topic discussed about vratas, danas, and their fruits, greatness of holy places like Prayag, Varanasi, and river Narmada, duties of kings, women's, iconography, building construction. 12th, Naradiya Mahapuranas contains 25,000 number of verses. In Naradiya Mahapuranas, topics discussed about vratas, duties of people of various varnas and ashramas, six Vednak, ritualistic workshop, fasting on Ekadasi days. 13th, Padma Mahapuran contains 15,000 verses. Topic discussed in Padma Mahapuran is description of the various worlds of goblins, Gandharvas, heaven, and so on. Varnashram dharmas, vratas, and religious vows, various types of shraddhas. 14th, Skanda Mahapuran contains 81,000 number of verses. In Skanda Mahapuran, the topics discussed is detailed descriptions of several places of pilgrimage, pilgrimage such as Kashi, Puri, and Ujjaini. Advaita Vedanta, various aspects of Lord Shiva and methods of meditations. Satyanarayana Vrat. 15th, Vaman Mahapuran. In Vaman Mahapuran, 10,000 number of verses. In Vaman Mahapuran, topic discussed about certain vratas, doctrine of karma. In 16, Vara Mahapuranas. Vara Mahapuranas contains 24,000 number of verses. In Vara Mahapuranas, topics discussed about Dharmasastra, pilgrimage, dan, images of deities, and their worship, Ishos, Shraddha, theory of karma, health cosmology since 17th. Vayu Mahapuran contains 24,000 number of verses. Topics discussed about Vayu Mahapuranas are geographical descriptions of places, importance and greatness of Gaya, famous places of pilgrimage, details of Shraddha ceremony, science of music. 18th and the last Mahapuranas is Vishnu Mahapuran, contains 23,000 number of verses and if eh, and in its topic discussed about four Varnas and Ashramas, the impact of Pali, philosophical ideas of the Vedas, description of Kali, Bhakti as main Shraddha, Bhakti as main sadhana. Pali and Prakrit language gained prominence when religious literature of the Buddhist and Jains were composed. Buddhist literature can be divided into canonical and non-canonical works. The canonical literature consists of three Pitaka or baskets of knowledge written in Pali, the great epic Buddha, Buddhacharit by Ashutosh is another example of Buddhist literature in Sanskrit. Jainism produced texts in Prakrit. They form the basis of the Jain canonical literature. Some of the Jain texts were also written in Sanskrit like the Upamiti Bhav Prapanch Katha of Siddharth 906 AD. The most important Jain texts written in Prakrit are the Alimas. Santinath Charitra is another important Jain text of 16th Tirthankar Santinath and written in Sanskrit. UNESCO declared it a global treasure. Prakrit poetry has some elements of erotica through texts like the Gatha Saptasati, 700 verses by Hala. Sikhism is relatively a new religion established in 15th century and is based on the teaching of Guru Nanak. The beliefs and philosophies of Sikhism are written in the sacred scripture Guru Granth Sahib. Gurbani is the composition and hymns of Sikh Gurus and the Guru Granth Sahib. Sikh literature. The important literary works related to Sikhism are Adi Granth. It was compiled by Bhai Gurudas under the aegis of the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev in 1604. It is a predecessor to Guru Granth Sahib. The book contains the teachings of the Sikh Gurus and 15 Bhagats of Bhakti and Sufi traditions. Guru Granth Sahib Adi Granth was further expanded in 1678 under the 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh. It is of great regard to the Sikhs. It is regarded as the 11th and final spiritual authority of the Sikhs. It is written in Gurumukhi script and is in a language called Sant Bhasha. Sant Bhasha contains words from various languages like Punjabi, Brahmasa, Hindi, Braj Bhasha, Sanskrit, Khadi Boli, and Persian. The book also contains the teaching of Bhakti saints called Bhagats like Ramanand, Namdev, Ravidas, Parmanand, Sen, Surdas, etc. and two Muslim Bhagats Kabir and Baba Farid. The Granth. It is believed that the hymns written by Guru Gobind Singh are compiled in this book. However, many do not agree with this. These contain fables and Puranic stories. Some hymns of the book are supposed to be offered in the daily prayers called Nitnayam. Janam Sakhis. These books contain the stories of the first Guru, Guru Nanak. The most popular book is Bhai Bala Janam Sakhi. Others are Nihavar, Niharvan Janam Sakhi and Adi Janam Sakhi. Kautilya Arthashastra was written by Chanakya or Kautilya. He was the prime minister of Chandragupta Maurya. It was written in Sanskrit. Arthashastra deals with political, administrative, and economic issues. This is a book of statecraft. It teaches how to establish an empire and preserve it. It is divided into 15 Puranas parts. It contains 150 Puranas chapters. It has been translated into German, French, and many other languages. Kalidas has three major plays. Maha Malavikagni, the love story of Malvika, a maiden of Twin and Agnimitra, the son of Pushyamitra Sunga. Vikrama was Vikramorsvasi, love story of Vikram and Virushi, a Vigyan Sakuntalam, the recognition of Sakuntala, Sudra Kritika, the little clay card, love affair of young Brahmin Charudat with a wealthy courtesan, Vishakdatt, Mudraksh, is a political drama and narrates ascent of King Chandragupta Maurya to power in India. Devi Chandraguptam, Bhavbhuti, Uttar Ramcharitram, the later life of Ram. It was written in 700 AD. Bhasha, Swapna Vasaudat in Dream, Pancharatra, Ganga, the story of Duryodhan during and after his fight with Bhim. Harshvardhan Ratnavali about the love story of Princess Ratnavali, daughter of the King of Ceylon and King Udyan. The mention of celebration of Holi for the first time can be found here. Nagananda, the story of how Prince Jimutwahan gives up his own body to stop a sacrifice of serpents to the divine Garot. Priyadarshika, union of Udayan and Priyadarshika. Telugu literature. Telugu literature is the body of works written in the Telugu language. Telugu literature body of writings in Telugu, a Dravidian language majorly spoken in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana state of India. The literature beginning in the 10th or 11th century is mainly poetry and secular and religious epics with the Shatak century of verses as a very popular form. Literature is the Telugu language made great progress from 13th century onwards. During the 13th and 14th century, Telugu translations and adaptations of Sanskrit works were produced. The most important Telugu poet in the first half of the 14th century was Irraparagad. He composed Ramayana in Sanku genre, a mixed form of verses and prose. He translated a part of the Mahabharata and another Vaishnava Sanskrit work, Harivamsa, into Telugu. Srinath was another great Telugu writer, translated Sriharsa's Nashada Kavya into Telugu. The Telugu literature achieved its highest position in the 16th century during the reign of Vijayanagar Empire. Krishnanand Rai, who himself was a poet in both Sanskrit and Telugu, and wrote Amuk Malayalam Telugu. Telugu was the court language along with Sanskrit. The Jain scholars made the first foray into the Kannada literature. The best example of a Jain influenced text is Dharmanand Puran, written by Madhav on the life of the 15th Tirthankar. Several other scholars like Purita Vilasa wrote Dharma Parichya on the Zen teachings of this period. One of the first recorded texts in Kannada is called Kavirajmarg, which was written by Amavasa I. Amavasa first in the 19th century. He was also a very popular Rashtrakuta king. Telugu literature. Kannada language has many great poets, but the three gems were unparalleled. They were Pampa, 19th to 10th century AD, Konna, 19th to 10th century AD, and Ranna, 10th century to 11th century AD. It was also in the 10th century that Pampa, better known as the father of Kannada, wrote two of his greatest poetic works, Adi Puran, written in Sampu style, and Vikrama, Vikramarjun Vijay, Vikramarjun Vijay, Papa, who was renowned for his mastery over the ras involved in the poetic compositions, was attached to the court of Chalukya Arikesari. The second Jain Arponna has written a famous treatise titled Santi Puran, and the third Jain Purana has a third Ajit Puran. These two poets were attached to the court of the Rashtrakuta king Krishna III. Although Kannada became a full-fledged language by the 10th century, but the growth of Kannada literature has been closely attributed to the patronage from Vijayanagar Empire, Vijayangara Empire. Malayalam literature. Malayalam is usually spoken in Kerala and surrounding areas. Two of the major Malayalam works of the medieval period are Kuka's Sandisan and Bhasa Kautilya, a commentary on Arthashastra. Another major literary work in Malayalam is Ramcharitam, an epic poem written by Siraman in 12th century. Yajuk Chan, a strong proponent of Bhakti movement, is known as the father of Malayalam language. Champu. It is a literacy style and refers to the combination of poetry and prose. This style or genre has been used in Telugu, Odia, Kannada as well as Sanskrit literature. Sangam literature. Tamil literature is known as Sangam literature. Sangam means fraternity, and this literature was very popular amongst the masses. This literature is a collection of works that contains approximately 2,381 poems that have been attributed to 473 poets, and there is a corpus of literature written by 102 poets that remains anonymous. The poets included men and women from different classes of society. The literature tradition was so popular that the period between 300 BC and 300 AD, during which most of these were composed and compiled, is often called Sangam period. There are two major schools of Sangam literature, Aham or Agam, which is the inner field and concentrates on the abstract discussion of human aspects like love, sexual relations, etc. The second school is the Puram or the outer field, which discusses the human experiences like social life, ethics, value, customs, etc. This literature bears the name Sangam because the kingdom of Pandya organized assemblies where poets, bards, and writers joined from various parts of South India, and these assemblies were called Sangamai. Literature produced in the duration of these assemblies was called Sangam literature. The Sangam literature, around 30,000 lines of poetry, has been arranged in eight anthologies called Ituthogai, the very famous and revered Tamil saint Thiruvalluvar, had contributed the Tirukural to the Sangam literature. It has been now translated into several languages and is divided into three parts. We discuss the epics, polity, governance, and love, and other famous female saints who contributed to Sangam literature in Avyar. Apart from the Sangam literature, there are many well-known texts written in Tamil, but Tolkappiyam was written to elaborate on the nuance of Tamil grammar and poetry, like the twin Sanskrit epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. Even Tamil has two major texts written in 6th century AD, that is, Silapadikaram, Tale of an Anklet, which was written by Ilangu and Adigal. The second text is Manimekalai, the story of Manimekalai, written by Satyanar. These texts focus on the Tamil society and the economic and political changes it was experiencing. Northern Indian languages and literature. The studies have indicated that all the scripts of present Northern Indian languages except that of Urdu have had their origin in Old Brahmi. A long and slow process had given them this shape. If we compare the scripts of Gujarati, Hindi, and Punjabi, we can easily understand this change. As for the spoken word, there are over 200 languages or dialects spoken in India at present. Some are widely used, while others are limited to a particular area. A large number of people speak Hindi in its different forms that include Braj Bhasha and Awadhi spoken in Oudh or Oudh region, Bhojpuri, Magadhi, and Maithili spoken around Mithila, and Rajasthani and Khadi Boli spoken around Delhi. Rajasthani is another variant or dialect of Hindi. This classification has been made on the basis of literature produced by great poets over a length of time. Thus, the language used by Surdas and Bihari has been given the name of Rajbhasha. That used by Tulsidas in the Ramcharitmanas is called Awadhi, and the one used by Vidyapati has been termed as Maithili. Urdu emerged as an independent language towards the end of the 4th century AD. Arabic, Arabic and Persian were introduced in India with the coming of the Turks and the Mongols. Persian remained the core language for many centuries. Urdu as a language was born out of the interaction between Hindi and Persian. After the conquest of Delhi, 1192, the Turkish people settled in this region. Urdu was born out of the interaction of these settlers and soldiers in the barracks with the common people. Originally, it was a dialect, but slowly it acquired all the features of a formal. language when the authors started using Persian script. It was further given an impetus by its use in the Amani states of Ahmednagar, Golconda, Gijapur, and Berar. Here it was even called Dakshini or Dakkini. Southern. As time passed, it became popular with the masses of Delhi. Urdu became more popular in the early 18th century. People even wrote accounts of later Mughals in Urdu. Urdu was given its pride of place of by a large number of poets who have left inimitable poetry for posterity. The earliest Urdu poet is supposed to be Firasu, 1253 to 1325. He started writing as a poet in the region of Sultan Balban. He was a follower of Nizam ud-Din Aurija. He is said to have composed 99 works on separate themes and numerous verses of poetry. Among the important works composed by him are Laila Majnun and Aina-e-Sikandari, dedicated to Alauddin Khilji. Am- Among other well-known poets are Ghalib, Job, and Iqbal. Iqbal's Urdu poetry is available in his collection called Bang-e-Dara. His शेर जहां से अच्छा सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा is sung and played at many of the national celebrations in India. No army parade no army parade is considered complete without the army band playing this tune. Even in the early days, Munshi Premchand, who is supposed to be a doyen of Hindi literature, wrote in Urdu. Urdu has given us a new form of poem that is called a Najm. Urdu was patronized by the Nawabs of Lucknow, who held symposium in this language. Slowly it became quite popular. Pakistan had adopted Urdu as the state language. Persian. Babar was himself a great scholar of Persian, as Persian was the language of the court. Much of the literature produced in this period was written in Persian. Amir Khuraso and Amir Hassan Dehelvi wrote superb poetry in Persian. Historians like Minhas us Siraj and Zia Barani and Ibn Battuta, who came to India during those days, wrote accounts of rulers, important political events, and incidents in this language. In the medieval period, Persian was adopted as the court language. Several historical accounts, administrative manuals, and allied literature in this language have come down to us. The Mughal rulers were great patrons of learning and literature. Babur wrote his Tujuk autobiography in Turkish language, but his grandson Akbar got it translated into Persian. Akbar patronized many scholars. He got Mahabharata translated into Persian. Jahangir's biography, Tuzuk-i-Jahangiri, is in Persian and is a unique piece of literature. It is said that Noor Jahan was an accomplished Persian poetess. Quite a fair amount of Persian literature has been produced by the courtiers of the Mughals. Abul Fazl's Akbarnama and Aine-e-Akbari is a fine piece of literature. Hindi literature. Prithviraj Raso is supposed to be the first book in the Hindi language. Hindi literature looked to Sanskrit classics for guidance and Bharata's Natyashastra was kept in mind by Hindi writers during the 12th and 13th century. There started a movement in southern India that was called the Bhakti movement. As its influence reached the north, it started affecting the prose and poetry that were being composed in Hindi. Poetry now became largely devotional in nature. Hindi evolved during the Brahmin stage between the 7th and 8th century AD. It was characterized as Vir Gatha Kala, that is, the age of heroic poetry, or the Adikala early period. It was patronized by the Rajput rulers as its glorified chivalry and poetry. The most famous figures from this period were Kabir and Tulsidas. Bharatiya Varishan was one of the earliest to produce dramas in Hindi, which were basically translations of text written in Sanskrit and other languages. Among other names who have enriched Hindi literature is that of Munshi Premchand, who switched over from Urdu to Hindi. Suryakant Tripathi Nirala achieves recognition because he questioned the orthodoxies in society. Mahadevi Verma is the first woman writer in Hindi to highlight issues related to women. Maithili Saran Gupta is another important name. Jaishankar Prasad wrote beautiful dramas. Bhartiya Harishan, Mahavir Prasad Trivedi, Ramchandra Choki, and Shyam Sundar Das were the main among the prose writers of Hindi literature. Jaishankar Prasad, Maithili Saran Gupta, Sumitranand Balpam, Suryakant Tripathi Nirala, Mahadevi Verma, Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, and Harivansh Rai Bachchan made great contribution to the of development of Hindi poetry. Similarly, Premchand, Vrindavan Lal Verma, and Ilachandra Joshi wrote novels and enriched Hindi literature. Thank you.